Okay, systems of equations here. We're going to solve for x. Now, they created an easy system for you. If you take the first two equations here, we can get the letter z. Okay? 3x and negative 3x cancel, y and negative y cancel, and I'm left with 2z equals 6, so my z equals 3. Now I'm looking for my x, but what I can do here is this. Okay? If I plug my 3 in for z, I'm going to use these bottom two right here. Okay? I don't want to use the top two because the x just disappears. Okay, we're trying to solve for the x. So I'm going to do negative 3x minus y plus 3 equals negative 4. And I'm going to get x plus y plus 3 equals 6. That's going to be my new system. So negative 3x minus y equals a negative 7. And x plus y equals 3. And now I'm going to do this system right here. This system's pretty easy. The y's cancel, and I'm left with negative 2x equals a negative 4. Divide negative 2 on both sides, and my x equals 2. That's my answer. Now, if I want to get my y, 2 plus what plus 3 gives you 6. My y equals 1. Okay? You just need to get what they ask. Now, we can check it. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 plus 3 is 10. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, minus 1 is negative 7, plus 3 is negative 4, and then obviously 3 plus 2 plus 1, or 3 plus 1 plus 2 is 6. Okay? This is about making good decisions. X plus 4 times x plus 4 is x plus 4 squared. X squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. You're just foiling it out, and you always have to combine your like terms. Okay, that's not a new topic. Okay. X plus 4 times x plus 4 times x plus 4. If you want, you can use the fact that x plus 4 squared, we already done it. It's x squared plus 8x plus 16, and we do x plus 4. So it's x cubed plus 4x squared plus 8x squared plus 32x plus 64. And that's just distributing the x squared through both terms, the 8x through both terms, and, oops, I missed a term there, the 16 through both terms. You always finish by combining your like terms. That doesn't change. So x cubed, 12x squared, 48x, plus 64. And that's our answer. And then finally, the x plus 4 to the 4th is going to be x plus 4 times x plus 4 times x plus 4 times x plus 4. My advice, you have two groups of x plus 4. We know x plus 4 squared is this. And now I'm basically foiling but distributing through. X squared to all three terms. X to the 4th plus 8x cubed plus 16x squared. 8x to all three terms. 8x cubed plus 64x squared. 8 times 16 is 128x. And then finally, 16x or 16. 16x squared. 16 times 8 is 128x. And 16 times 16 is 256.
Okay. I'll check those amounts real quick. So it's 16 times 8, 128. Yep. That one. And then 16 times 16, 256.
And then I'm combining like terms. X to the fourth plus 16x cubed. 32 and 6, 92x squared. 256x plus 256. And this is your answer. First one is straightforward factoring. I'm going to put the 2x down and the x down because there's no GCF. 2x times x gives you 2x squared. My most common factor there is going to be 1 and 35 or 5 and 7. I'm always a fan of choosing the middle ones first. If I put the 5 here and the 7 here, I get 14x and 5x. I can make that a -9 by making it -14. So this is a minus, this is a positive. Since it's equal to 0, we simply set each parenthesis equal to 0. 2x equals a -5, and x equals -5/2. Here we had 7 on both sides, and x equals 7, and those are my answers. Okay? Now the second one, it's not equal to 0. So we can't do anything until it's equal to 0. And you can't set each parenthesis equal to 42. It's not going to work. So in this case, we get x squared plus 4x plus 5x plus 20 equals 42. I'm going to combine my like terms, and I'm moving the 42 over. So now we have a -22. And then I factor. Once again, if you have a trinomial, that means you got to get it equal to 0 and factor it. This is x plus 11, x minus 2. That's how I get that middle term of plus 9x and an end term of -22. And then we set each parenthesis equal to 0. X equals -11, x equals 2. And you can plug them in, it'll work. 2 plus 4 is 6. 2 plus 5 is 7. 6 times 7 is 42. -11 plus 4 is 7. -7, excuse me. -11 plus 5 is -6. -7 times -6 is 42. It does work out. When you can't factor it, we use the quadratic formula. When you walk into your final, you should know this formula. When you walk into math class next year, you should know that formula, certainly when you walk into a college classroom. My A here is going to be 1. My B is -8. My C is -2. And I'm plugging the numbers in exactly as is. -8 plus or minus -8 squared minus 4 times 1 times a -2 divided by 2 times 1. I'm literally just plugging the numbers in. -8 is 8 plus or minus -8 squared is 64. -4 times 1 times -2 is a +8 all over 2. And that ends up being 8 plus or minus the square root of 72 over 2. The square root of 72 can be simplified. 2 and 36, 2 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 3. Pair of 3s, pair of 2s. So 8 plus or minus 6 root 2 over 2. 8 over 2 is 4. 6 over 2 is 3. And that is my answer, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's the one where we put parentheses around the first two terms. I always put a plus sign in between the two parentheses. All right? And now we're taking a GCF from both parentheses, and we should get the same thing in the parentheses. If I take a 3x squared out of here, I'm left with x plus 4. If I take a -2 out of here, I'm left with x plus 4. And then to finish the factoring, you don't have to solve, you just have to factor it. You put the two GCFs in a parenthesis. We don't write plus minus under any circumstance. 3x squared minus 2, x plus 4. There's your answer. For number 6, before we can complete the square or do quadratic formula, we've got to get it equal to 0. So I add the 20 to both sides. If we recall completing the square, the first step for completing the square is you have to have a 1 in front of your x squared. So I divide everything by 2. And now I'm left with x squared plus 4x plus 10. We move the constant over. X squared plus 4x equals a negative 10. And the trick, we take half the middle term and square it. Now, because it's 4, we're going to add 4 to both sides. That's not because the middle term is 4. That's because the middle term of 4 is, half of it is 2, and 2 squared is 4. If that middle term happened to be 6, we'd be adding 9. Half of 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9. In this case, the middle term is 4. We take half of it and square it. And that means this can be written as x plus 2 squared. It's always factored by half the middle term with that sign. And then we solve from there. The square root of x plus 2 squared equals the square root of negative 6. That's x plus 2 on the left. And on the right, we get plus or minus I root 6. And then the answer, negative 2 plus or minus I root 6. Now, if I were to do quadratic formula, I should get the same exact answer. You can plug the higher numbers in. My advice with quadratic formula, I would take a GCF out first. It makes the quadratic formula easier. You can use 2, 8, and 20 for A, B, and C. I'm going to divide everything by 2 first, though, and do this problem. X squared plus 4x plus 10. My A is 1, my B is 4, my C is 10. Negative 4 plus or minus 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 10 over 2 times 1. That becomes negative 4 plus or minus 16 minus 40 over 2, which is negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 24 over 2. When you simplify 24, this is what it will look like. 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. Pair of 2's, and the 2 times 3 goes on the inside. So negative 4 plus or minus 2I root 6 over 2. And then you simplify it. Negative 4 over 2 is negative 2, plus or minus I root 6. You will get the same exact answer. Does not change. You know what? We'll stop.